Our next reader is Pietra Dunmore. Pietra is a recent double degree creative writing and publishing graduate. I think Pietra, you are actually the second person to graduate with a double degree.
Nice.
She writes nonfiction, fiction, and poetry. Her writing has appeared in the Journal of New Jersey Poets, Human Parts, City Key, Let's Mend, Fatitude Literary Magazine, I love the title of that magazine, The F Word, that one too, and Athena Talks. You can read her work on her website at pietradunmore.net. So please welcome Pietra.
There's a saying from Pablo Picasso that goes, there are only two types of women, goddesses and doormats. The first time I heard it, I knew which one I was, the doormat. In college, my goddess roommate Naomi and me, the doormat, went for drinks every Friday night and hung around the bar looking for eligible men. One night on the way there, I confessed to her that I wanted a husband more than a career. Naomi rolled her eyes. My God, that's so basic. She laughed. I don't need no man telling me what to do for the rest of my life. Good luck with that. We sat at the stools at the back of the bar, surveying the men that walked in. Naomi looked for the flashy guys with the silver watches and good shoes, while I looked for a friendly face. The rule was, Naomi got all the top tier guys, and she let me choose from the guys she didn't think have enough money, or were, in her words, corny. One of those corny guys eventually became my husband. Originally, he had tried to talk to Naomi, but she just dismissed him as she did with all the men that weren't at least 6 feet tall. He wears checkered socks with sandals, she whispered in my ear. You talk to him, he's corny. Naomi politely excused herself, saying that she wanted to talk to someone across the bar. We shrugged at each other and started an awkward conversation. I was studying psychology, looking for the hidden stories behind every behavior, and Rob was a math major that lived in the dorms across the street. He told me he wanted to go into teaching and live a simple drama-free life. I thought Rob was handsome, in a he would be a cute dad kind of way. He had a big brown eyes, stocky build, and a slight beginning of a beer belly. After that night, I saw him again on one of our first dates, and we walked the campus and talked about the lives we wanted to live. I told him I wanted to live in a colonial with a bright yellow door. He told me he would make that happen as long as I would be the one to drive the minivan. I laughed. I saw him again and again. Naomi was happy jealous for me. I guess you could find treasure in another woman's trash. At that time, she was dating a married man that we referred to as Moneybags. I was sworn never to say his name aloud. In fact, I spent so long not saying his name that I actually don't remember it now, but I did know it once. Moneybags had a sweet Mercedes, white with tan interior. The top would be down in the summer, and Naomi would wear large glasses that were bigger than her face. For years, she carried on with that relationship, believing he would leave his wife. Then, 10 years later, when he finally got divorced, he got engaged to some other woman she knew nothing about. I told you this would happen, was the first thing I said when she told me. And she never forgave me for that. I hadn't meant it to say it that way, but I was busy nursing a baby and applying for jobs that were more family friendly. I was sad happy for her. I had always dreamt of the day Naomi would realize she wasn't such hot shit. The endless stories about how she never had to buy anything with her own money and how she could always take any woman's man, even if she didn't want him, got old. Now life had taken her down a few pegs. Maybe now you'll get your own man, I said flippantly, turning the baby over to Berber. After my second child, I stopped inviting her over for the fear that she might start flirting with my husband. He wasn't as corny now. When I confronted my ugly feelings, I felt bad, and I realized I wasn't being a good friend. I called her one morning from outside her house. Just use the key under the flower pot, she whispered into the receiver and hung up. I found Naomi under the covers, 1 foot with a chipped French manicure hanging out. She caught me staring and her foot disappeared under the duvet. Her finger pointed to the water bottle beside the bed and I handed it to her. She looked less glamorous without her hair done and globs of mascara. "What time is it?" she asked. "It's 1 o'clock, I replied. Naomi stretched, placed the water bottle on the floor and made her way to the bathroom. A part of me felt I was above the storyline of Naomi's life. It took a lot for me to understand her, especially the behavior that I thought was atrocious. But as the years went on, I learned that she had been competing with women her whole life, starting with her mother. She was a bundle of insecurities and flawed logic, unable to let her emotions dictate whom or how she could love. She wanted desperately to transcend her family and live a life that looked nothing like the others' lives she grew up with. Lives that she seemed devoid of potential, barely surviving. I sat on her bed waiting for her to take a shower and get dressed. There was a silent divide between us, our lives a bundle of choices, good and bad. As the shower ran, I thought about the trajectory of our lives. I got married to Rob. Naomi adopted a cat from a shelter. Rob and I bought our first house. Naomi moved from Philly to Connecticut, then back again. We had our first baby. Naomi got a promotion. Our new family weathered Hurricane Sandy while I was pregnant with another baby. Despite the differences, Naomi and I kept touch, although a little less frequently as time went by. Sometimes I was jealous as she spoke of a freedom I would never have again, going out, traveling, and meeting new people. The bathroom door opened and the steam floated into the bedroom. I watched from the door as she took some objects out from her makeup bag. Fashion Fair Perfect Finish Souffle, a tube of Confidence, her go-to gold lipstick, black eyeliner, and Blackest Black mascara. As I sat there running my fingers over the duvet, I told myself that I stayed connected to her because she was the last of my friends that knew what I was like when I was fun. While I was at home taking care of my new baby, changing diapers, cooking dinner, she was gallivanting with people who drove cars I could never afford, who would never know that I once rocked a crop top. Who would know? Naomi. But now there was less to talk about. No, there was less I was willing to say. How could I tell her that she was getting older and could no longer afford to be the woman chasing the next thing, judging everyone on what they wore, what they drove, and where they came from? It was bad enough she wasted 4 years on a married man. "All right, let's go," Naomi stood in the doorway and smoothed her hand over her favorite wig. A chocolate brown, chin-length bob with caramel highlights. She named it Missy. I took my sunglasses out of my bag and put them on as we walked outside. The air hung heavy with humidity, and the quick walk down the street seemed grueling. We ordered from a turquoise-colored food truck selling iced treats and sat on the park benches. Naomi faced me, her eyes squinted and the corner of her mouth curled. I could have had Rob, you know. She ran her tongue lengthwise over her butter pecan ice cream. I nodded, staring across the street. "Yeah, but you asked me to take them off your hands." I shoveled a few spoonfuls of water ice in my mouth. "And you said he was corny." Naomi glanced down at her manicured hands. "I don't think that anymore." She flicked her wig over her shoulder. "Things would have been different," Naomi said, pausing to take another long, deliberate lick of ice cream, "if he was with me." I looked at her through my shades. She was no longer competition with me, and she knew it. I took one last spoonful of cherry ice and tossed the cup in the trash. "You would have ended up the same," I said. She opened her mouth to say more, but I put my hand in the air. The conversation was over. There was no medal for staying in a friendship that had outlived itself. I stood up from the bench and walked away, letting the gauze of my skirt flow with the wind. I was the goddess, and Naomi was no longer my friend. Not sure she ever was.